Welcome back, everybody. My name is Peter Nelson, and I'm here to share another story about jewelry with you to help you understand how custom jewelry is made. Now, I said custom. This is not fully handmade, though as you will see in the video, there are many elements that I do actually do by hand. As a reminder, handmade is exclusively used, according to the law, for jewelry that is made using only the most basic components like wire, sheet, and casting grain. For this project, in order to keep costs down and speed up, what I did was I carved the wax. I carved two pieces of wax, one for the ring shank, the part that goes onto the finger, and one for the head, the part that holds the gemstone. Now this head, I did not put the prongs on in wax because frankly I don't think they look nice. And they're not as strong, which I'll explain in a little bit. So instead I have a shank, I have a head, and then I need to pull wire to make my prongs and attach them later. Now why did I do this? Why do I make my life more difficult? Well, I did that for two reasons. The first one, when I was discussing with my client what we wanted to do, we first chose the stone, a lovely teal sapphire from Madagascar, and then we talked about the design. Of course, I'm an engraver, so I'm always looking for opportunities to put engraving in places that, well, no laser engraver is ever going to do, and it would look like trash, because when you know that it's done by hand, in my opinion, that increases the value. Because it's harder to replicate, and there's less and less people that can even do it, that is actually a rarer thing, so the value is there. So what I did, in order to get the engraving into the side cheeks of this ring shank, I had to make sure that the head was not on already. Because of the way engraving works, as you approach the metal, you have to have certain angles available to you. And you've got all of this handle of the graver in the way. So if I have the head there already, the tool can't actually get into that space. So I have to do the pieces separately. That's the first reason. The second reason, which I alluded to a moment ago, is that cast prongs, as opposed to pulled wire prongs, cast prongs are weaker. And that's because of how casting works. In order to get metal to flow, you have to heat it up to a really high temperature, and sometimes they add other constituent components into the mix to make it flow more easily. So the molten metal goes whoosh really fast, but when it freezes and goes solid again, sometimes it leaves little tiny bubbles, which we call porosity. And that porosity is a void. That's a weakness. And so if there's porosity in your prongs, you may not see it from the outside. But over time, as it wears down with constant wear, it's a wedding ring after all, it should be on every day. Not judging if you don't. But if you are wearing it every day, it's going to wear down faster, because once the metal on top wears away and you get to that bubble in between, there's just no metal there. So the difference with pulled wire is that when you cast a big old solid nugget, which we call an ingot, you then put it through the rolling mill a whole bunch of times and it keeps getting compacted, compacted, compacted. All of those bubbles get squished out. They get squished together. So the density of the metal is actually more than cast metal because there's no voids in there. And then when you finally get it down to that tiny wire, pulling it through the draw plate, it's a much more dense and robust metal. Even if it's the same 18 karat gold or silver or platinum, the density of milled or drawn metal is much, much more compact. And that means a longer lifetime. Less repairs, longer life. In my opinion, it's all around better. Not to mention it's more shiny, because when you pull it through that draw plate, as long as the draw plate is of a good quality, it leaves a polished surface. Good luck doing that with something that's been cast. Much more difficult, if even possible. So we began with cast pieces. All I have to do is cut off that tiny sprue where it's attached to the tree for casting. You have many, many other pieces all put together on what we call a casting tree. And that keeps the cost down because I'm only paying for the metal that goes into this casting and a tiny little sprue that's attached to the individual component. So I just cut that off, clean up the piece, and then I can go about putting them together. But as I said, first I have to do my engraving on the shank. Once the head is in place, I won't be able to get into those places. So I put bright cut scrolls on the cheeks of either side of this engagement ring. Once the engraving was done, I could attach the head, and then finally I can attach the prongs. And if you've been watching this channel for any length of time, you know I don't like normal. So since we had a teal sapphire head, rather than just do diamonds, why not do diamonds and sapphire mixed? So on top of those cheeks where I was doing the engraving, the sides are engraved, the top, we put accent stones, sapphire and diamond mixed together. Bead set those in, which I did entirely by hand. Thank you, new approach. And then I did a milligrane border. Just a little extra sparkle. Once that's all done, I can take the teal sapphire and set the center stone. And voila! We have a completed piece of jewelry. So there you go, that's how custom jewelry works. If you're interested in a jewelry project, head over to gemshepherd.com where you can contact me directly. Or you can get on the mailing list and see some of the projects that I'm doing in secret. The members of that list get to see these videos and projects first and also get the first opportunity to buy. Once those objects come to YouTube, there's a strong chance they may already have been sold. So if you want the first opportunity to see and buy, you're welcome to get on that list. Welcome to the Gem Shepherd Circle. Otherwise, leave me a comment down below, tell all your friends about me, and until next time, bye-bye.